Hey everybody, how's it going? This is a book ramble video, so that means you don't have to pay attention to it visually, you just gotta listen to it, surf the web, paint your models, whatever you're gonna do, and you can just listen. This is a book ramble on Graham McNeil's Angel Exterminatus Horus Heresy book. Novel, whatever you want to call it. I've actually had this read for a while, but I've been busy, so I couldn't do anything hobby or video related. So yeah, Angel Exterminatus. This book, in terms of books 1 through 24, whatever up to now of the Horus Heresy series, this book comes after Shadows of Treachery in release order. I would call it a standalone book. Now, Shadows of Treachery has the novella Crimson Fist in it, which this does make reference to a little bit. I mean, let me clarify. Crimson Fist has an Iron Warriors fleet in it, with Perturbo there. So clearly, this book being about the Iron Warriors, this book, timeline-wise, takes place after the events of Crimson Fist. But the events of the Crimson Fist novella are not necessarily needed to be known to read this book at all. You just pick up on some names here and there, some name drops here and there, really. You'll be absolutely fine reading this book without reading Crimson Fist novella from Shadows of Treachery. That being said, it's a great novella. So, Angel Exterminatus takes place after the events of that, and that took place after the Drop Site Massacre, so this is also after the Drop Site Massacre. This is about the Iron Warriors, as I said, and it's the Iron Warriors backed up by Emperor's Children, along with Fulgrim. So you got Perturbo and his legion, and the Emperor's Children, led by Fulgrim in this book. The Emperor's Children are very much support cast. They're not trying to steal the show. This show is very much the Iron Warriors. And I like that, because much like Brotherhood of the Storm, which was a limited release book on the White Scars, Angel Exterminatus gives us insight into the Iron Warriors that we don't really have during the Horus Heresy. And Perturbo, or however you pronounce his name. So, I think that's pretty cool, because really we haven't gotten much from them during the Horus Heresy time frame at all. So this book starts off with them laying siege, with the Iron Warriors laying siege to an Imperial Fist outpost on some planet. They destroy it, and then the Emperor's Children show up to talk to Perturbo. Well, Fulgrim shows up with his legion to talk to Perturbo. And that's when the main plot of the story starts. That's when they start seeking the Angel Exterminatus. Basically, Fulgrim seeks Perturbo's help in that. So, that's where the book starts. Now, as far as the tempo of the book has good tempo. You're never really left in a long lull period between action, and the action isn't so grandiose, over the top, or so frequent where it gets boring or just annoying. And the lull periods aren't really long or boring either. Like the plot development outside of combat, if you will, outside of the action scenes, is also enjoyable. So the book, while it is, I would say, at least because it's hardcover, it seems thicker, it seems bigger overall in size and in length as a novel than the other Horus Heresy books, really. It could just be because it's hardcover and then it makes the illusion, but either way, it doesn't feel long. It's an enjoyable read, and it actually goes by pretty quick. So that's pretty cool. Now, I'm a big fan of the Iron Warriors, and after reading this book, I like the Iron Warriors even more. Or even more, I should say, not more. The Emperor's Children and Slaanesh, I never was a fan of, really. And after reading this book, it makes me dislike them a bit more as well. Not a ton more, just a little bit more. They seem more like spoiled, whiny, emo kids to me after reading this book. But I think it was a good job done by the author to include the Emperor's Children as the supporting legion to the Iron Warriors. If you think about it, while their battle doctrines may be different, the core is the same. The Iron Warriors seek perfection in their art. And the Emperor's Children sought perfection in all things, and now they took that perfection and twisted it to indulgence. So that's cool. And what's also pretty cool is you get to see the stark difference between the Iron Warriors Legion versus the Emperor's Children Legion. The Emperor's Children are a cult legion. They're devoted specifically to one chaos god, Slaanesh. The Iron Warriors are not devoted to any chaos gods at all. They don't really pay homage to them. So, with that being said, you get to see how different it is. The Iron Warriors, except for Dark Mechanicum support and except for some of a few dark aspects of the Legion now, um, based on the structure, the rigidity of the chain of command, and loyalty to the Primarch and to the orders, based on that structure, there's still very much like the Legion of Astartes. There's very much still Legion, where the Emperor's children are very much a chaotic warband, where if you're not a part of them, you really can't tell the chain of command in there if there really is one. So you get to see how different they are, and basically how far the Emperor's children, if you want to think about it that way, have fallen, and how much the Iron Warriors differ from them. So you get to see a real difference there. What I also like about this novel is that we get a sense of why the Iron Warriors kind of fell from grace, if you will, while they sided with the War Master. And what I like about it is it's not driven by corruption by the Chaos Gods. You know, you have the Word Bearers who basically, they were crying that, you know, we can't worship the Emperor, so we'll find something else to worship, and they basically got corrupted that way. You got Horus, you know, was he corrupted or was he fully corrupted after the events where he was nearly killed, stuff like that. And you have a lot of the traitor legions fell because of the Chaos Gods. And the Iron Warriors, you know, there's some of the fluff that maybe Forgebreaker, his Perturbo's hammer was a demon hammer, like a demonically possessed hammer. Maybe it corrupted him a bit that way to fall. But really, you get a sense of they're not falling for the Chaos Gods. They weren't corrupted. They didn't get possessed or anything like that. They fell because they felt they had to, in a sense, without giving anything away. Like, you get a sense of they fell for their own reasons, and they understand it pretty much as a legion. They understand why they fell. A good part of the book, just as an example, when Perturbo is talking to one of his triarchs, which is a 3 warsmiths that are his personal council, if you will. One of the triarchs called the Imperial forces, he calls them loyalists. And Perturbo stops dead in his tracks and pretty much rounds on him and goes, don't ever use that terminology again, you know, don't call them that. If they're loyalists, what does that make us? And I like that because it makes it feel like he views himself as, you know, we're not the traitors, they betrayed us, they betrayed me, type of thing. And I like that sense of, that sense that you get across from that. We also get a sense of Perturbo himself. We get a sense of not just his legion and a look and feel of the legion, we get a sense and look and feel of Perturbo. For example, he has a robotic bodyguard that he controls, which is kind of cool. Also, we get a sense that he's not just a siege master, he's also a craftsman and an artisan. And we get a sense that Perturbo understands how underestimated he is by a lot of his fellow brothers, if you will, the other Primarchs. So that's all well and good. And basically the story is the Emperor's children and the Iron Warriors working together as best they can to try and get Angel Exterminatus. And you get to see also that while the forces under Horus's banner are loyal to Horus, they may not necessarily like each other, and you get, you know, the idea that, you know, of course, such a grand scheme of forces, you can't possibly have 100% satisfaction rate between the different generals, if you will. But still, you get a sense that even at this kind of desperate hour, which is the Horus Heresy, where both sides really would benefit from having loyalties that are unshakable, you see very much how there are some legions that may flat out don't like each other underneath Horus's banner, which is interesting. So yeah, other than that, the book basically continues from it doesn't jump back and forth through time really. The time frame is, okay, X amount of time after Dropsat Massacre, when the Iron Warriors laid siege to that Imperial Fist outpost, and then the book moves forward from there through time. There are a couple instances of flashbacks, and those are very clearly marked. They're written in italics. It's very noticeable when there does a flashback. But other than that, the book just progresses forward through time. It doesn't jump through the timeline. And there's not too much else to say really about the novel. I enjoyed the novel. I think if you're an Iron Warriors fan, this is a must-read. I think if you're a Horus Heresy fan, of course you're going to read it. And I have to say, on the grand scheme of things, and if I'm ranking the Horus Heresy books, you know, all of them together, I wouldn't. I'm not going to say, you know, what's number 1, what's number 2, what's number 3, and all that. But I'd say this have to rank high up there in the books that I enjoyed personally. And I think Graham McNeill does a good job in writing Horus Heresy novels. and I think he did a good job here. And that's it. That's all I gotta say about the Angel Exterminatus. It's a read that's enjoyable, and it goes by pretty quick. And like I said, it gives you great insight into the Iron Warriors Legion. If you were collecting them, if you're, let's say you play 40k, you want to collect the Force during the Horse Heresy time period, maybe using, I don't know, Forge Rules, Horse Heresy rules, utilizing Forge World's Horse Heresy rule set, you can definitely read this book, get inspiration from this book to customize and make and kit bash, actual characters from the book to represent forces in your army list, which is pretty cool. Anyways, that's basically that. So thanks for sticking through this book Ramble. And if you pay attention throughout the entire thing, and you probably commented by now, waste of a video. You didn't show anything but the book cover. I told you, I warned you in the beginning. It's a book Ramble. I don't do anything except show you the book cover and ramble. That way you can look at it and then you can go about your business and listen. So now you know again for next time. Anyways, that's it. So until next time, take it easy.